All right, so welcome everyone to release 3. Happy end of July / almost August, as we were talking about a couple minutes ago. So we're going to go through the release 3 presentation today. As always, we are recording, so you can review this back. We will send the slide deck as part of this as well, so this will all be delivered to you. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat or to put your hand up. If you're not used to Google Meet, it's the little hand beside the 3 dots at the bottom. But we will have a question and answer period, as always, at the end. All right, so our agenda for this release, some of the key features we're going to be talking about is our Avocado custom portal, multiple eligibility with price levels, the ability to restrict holds for people who have member-only programs, some more UI updates to the portal, a more info card, the ability to lock down orders, and then just some general changes and bug fixes as well. So as always, after the call, feel free to review the release notes and the features. We anticipate this being available for Sandbox for you all probably end of next week. Once you're good to go with Sandbox, we'll get that deployed upon your request, test out your new features, and then when you're ready to go, touch base with your account manager to get that scheduled for production. All right, so our largest feature this release is the ability to have a custom homepage on the portal. So this was a project in collaboration with the YMCA of Calgary and the YMCA of Northern Alberta. So thank you both for your participation in that. But basically you have a couple options. You can either do an iframe or a lightning out, depending on kind of how much flexibility you want. And what this does is it allows you to create a custom homepage that is the most important information to your specific users, as well as any specific info for your organization. So we obviously have ours, but I would like to hand it over to Calgary and to Caitlin. So Calgary came to us with of reducing clicks and getting the members' detail front and center when they log into that homepage. So we worked with them and Northern Alberta to kind of figure out what those components would be and to kind of pull it through. As we went, we found some nice little extra features that we were able to do with marketing and branding and linking to external resources. So I'm going to actually let Caitlin speak to this. Caitlin, I don't know if you want to share and show your portal.
Yeah, is that okay? Just to share my screen? Okay. Right, I actually have to, I don't use Google Meet very often. Oh gosh, oh, here it is.
Yeah, between the camera.
Perfect. Is that working? Yep. Oh yeah, okay. Perfect. Amazing. So yeah, we have already set this live in production. So Rachel kind of asked if I could kind of give you guys a little tour of what it looks like for us, obviously from the Sandbox, but it is in our production environment as well. And also just some insights we had in terms of making this live, communicating this with staff and customers and that kind of thing. So it's a very fun update. We're very excited about it. Lots of opportunities. And as Rachel said, you kind of have some options around flexibility when you're setting it up. So this is an example portal in our Sandbox. You can kind of see some of the key features we have. We have, like Rachel said, added some nice branding to match our website. We were able to add special buttons to take people directly to kind of key pages on our website. For example, we have like a walkthrough library for portal resources that we want customers to be able to see quickly. So linking some of those. The components are amazing. So some of the ones that we've included, we've got our upcoming registrations. There's lots of filter options here, which is really helpful. Like being able to see waitlisted. Sorry, this is a Sandbox version, so I don't have actually that much data in here, but you can see waitlisted versus registered. You can change the date to see like today, next week, this week. And then also you can change to certain contacts. And then there's lots of the kind of idea with these components was that if you don't see, because we don't want to show everything, if somebody has like 50 registrations coming up, we're not going to show that all on the front page, but that there's clicks from here to the kind of my profile section. So if you click view all on registrations, it brings you to the My Programs page. So yeah, kind of we liked to envision it as the way that dashboards work in Salesforce, when you have like the key stuff at the front of the dashboard that you can visualize, but if you want to go into the details of a report, you kind of have a button that you can click to. So that was kind of how we envisioned it and how it came to life. So thank you, TechShare, for making this happen. This is amazing. Other nice ones is My Household, current memberships, and then My Payments and My Payment Methods are other ones that we've also included. Same like key information like outstanding payments, links to make payments quickly. The nice thing about this is that you can configure it a lot. I think especially, and Rachel can correct me if I'm wrong, but especially if you do the iframe option built in, it kind of lets you use, essentially, if people are familiar with the experience sites in the back end, it creates a separate experience site that you can then kind of edit and drag things around if you want to move them to different like sections. I'm not going to publish this. I just broke this. This is Sandbox. Phew. But yeah, so you can drag things around. The key thing I would say when you're kind of determining the layout, obviously everyone knows like thinking about what the customer wants. Our customers are really focused on what registrations they have, so we wanted that at the top of their page. But something we always did when we were testing was making sure we're also viewing it in mobile view so that we can see whether whatever screen size they're on, if it's going to be adaptable, if it's going to work in the right way. So if you're enabling this, I'm sure TechShare will go into more detail with you specifically on the best ways to test those, but really highly recommend testing in mobile view as well when you're configuring it. And then also there are, if you're not familiar with experience sites, there are trailheads in Salesforce that just kind of go over how you can edit things in an experience site. So I'd done those before and it made it a little bit easier for me to kind of know how to move things around and change fonts and add buttons and things like that. And then the other thing I was going to share is just some communication tips. So this was, obviously it's like a bigger portal release. It's right on the front page when people sign in for the first time. So some of the things that we did just to help our customers kind of get introduced to it a little easier. Obviously we had a portal alert up for the time, for about 2 or 3 days around the time that starting from when it was activated, we had it up for about 2 or 3 days with a link to our portal walkthrough library. And we actually made a specific, this is just our little walkthrough library, but we made a couple resources specifically just about how to navigate through the homepage, the key filters, some helpful tips and things like that. And then we had a document we made as well with similar things, so people had the option to see either video or PDF. And then they can kind of just see some of those key things that they can kind of keep an eye out for. We actually have really good reception from customers. There's always going to be people that don't love change. There was a few people that struggled with it, but overall people were really, really receptive to it. And I think really value having that information pulled more towards the front of their portals. We also did share update notes with our staff just to let them know, mostly so that if customers were asking them direct questions, that the customers would then, our staff would then know to direct them to that resource library and things like that. So yeah, that was everything I was going to share, but happy to answer questions if anybody has any questions.
I thought I saw a hand go up and I don't see one up anymore. If anyone was trying to ask a question.
I think it was a reaction that they were trying to do.
Okay, okay, perfect. I was like, I saw a hand, but just in case, we'll give a second to allow anyone. Again, questions at the end too, if there's anything else. But what I wanted to add, we did continue to build on this. So this is still kind of a work in progress. There are some components that we have built that Calgary is not currently using and that we'll likely be using in the future. So My Bookings, we do have a bookings component that is coming, as well as we've added custom buttons that'll allow you to link within the portal. So because we are using a Salesforce experience site, there's a bit of a limitation with how you link. So we've created a custom button that lets you link into different spots of the portal, as well as we've updated the notifications too, so that you can have a little nicer branding instead of the default Salesforce branding. So that'll all be included as part of this release. If this is something you are interested in setting up, please reach out to your account manager. They will work with the team to get this set up. We will not deploy this automatically. The components will obviously be there if you want to view them, or if you want to play around with a custom site, but you will need us to help you configure this to get it going live in your environment. So you can reach out to your account managers and they can provide more information on what that process looks like. All right, so continuing on, we've added the ability to have multiple eligibility criteria within a price group. So what we were hearing from people is things like, I want to offer a senior and a youth rate. I have a group of platinum memberships. I have maybe an annual platinum, monthly platinum, and a biweekly platinum. I don't want to show 3 different membership prices on my price group. I'd rather just show one that says platinum. So what we've done is we've added an eligibility rule to the current price level. So if you are currently using price levels and price groups, they will still work. We did not get rid of our current functionality. So that is still legacy supported. However, we ask as you move forward to use the eligibility rules instead of the fields on the price level. You will see them written as deprecated. So it does still work. That's just a reminder to you to move to this newest way of supporting it, just because it gives you a lot more flexibility. So you can add multiple subscription types, different age ranges. This will work the same way as our current price groups, that the contact will always get the lowest price that they are eligible for. And then just a friendly reminder that currently age is the only supported criteria for memberships. So we do not support memberships on top of memberships at this point in time. And then, yeah, you can see it displays just that one price level instead of having both of those displaying as separate. All right, so membership holds. So this came out of a collaboration with YMCA of Northern Alberta, that they were seeing an issue where people were purchasing memberships just to get a good deal on those programs and then putting their memberships on hold. So what we have done is we've created a feature controlled on the package that allows you to restrict holds for subscription programs. So what this does is it actually blocks the hold in the portal and will warn staff in the menu if that contact or a contact that is assigned to that membership that has a registration. So if you have like a family membership, we're trying to put that family membership on hold. If someone has a future subscription only program, they will not be able to go on hold. They can go on hold after that program ends, but not until that program has finished. And again, you just turn that on or off on the package level. So maybe only certain memberships work that way at your org, but you do have the flexibility to do that. And it will show you what is actually blocking the hold. So they can go into like view all registrations if you allow cancellation in the portal to do that as well. As part of our continuing improvement to how the portal looks and functions, we've made some additional updates to the Avocado portal, a more info button. So what we have done is we've made some updates to hide null values. So if you don't use returning registrant or you don't use priority registration on every instance, if that value is null, you now will not see it in the portal. Additionally, we did give you the option to display prices as free. This was largely a marketing ask, but we know that sometimes free sounds better than $0. So you can change that with a custom setting. It's a portal registration display as free, and that is controlled by a language file. So if marketing has another word for free that they would like to use, we can do that as well. So what we really see this being used for is kind of those either member-only programs where you don't need to display every piece of information, and just to clean up the view, hiding those blank spaces so that there is, if there's no curriculum, you don't have a link to a curriculum. And then the other piece of this is we did give you the option to hide standard pricing. So this field will be set to false by default, but you can't, or sorry, display standard pricing will be set to true. So everything will display as it currently does in your environment. However, you do have the option to uncheck that to hide your member and non-member pricing and only show your price group. So a lot of you use a 4-day price group for camp. Usually camp, I'm going to use fictitious numbers, usually camp's $500. There's a stat holiday, so it's only $400 that week. You now have the option to hide that member and non-member price and just show the short week price instead. So again, just cleaning it up so that it's a little more user-friendly and hopefully reducing some of the confusion to your end users. Okay, finance brain and hats on, everyone. So as part of our storage project, we are working towards removing GL master records. I know most of you know that that is the largest item for almost everyone's storage. So in order to be able to do that safely, we've created the ability to lock down orders. So two pieces we see this really being used for is one, archiving, and two, we've seen throughout tickets and through our support team that every once in a while, a frontline staff kind of goes back in time and maybe activates an order from the past or changes something in a previous fiscal year that maybe they shouldn't be. So we've actually given you the ability to lock them down and prevent them from doing that. So how this is going to work, it's going to be a nightly batch that runs. You will set it based on the finance order lock date custom setting. We recommend doing that kind of based off of like a previous fiscal year end, or even if you want to leave last year's open and go the year before that. And then basically set the time to run. This will get added to your scheduled classes enabled, that's scheduled job every hour. And basically this will go through and lock orders. So this will lock the payment schedule, the order item, PSI to OI because it is still currently there, and then any GL master records on the order. We do have an override that we can provide for finance admins if there is that specific use case where you need to go back in time and do something, but just reach out to us. We can provision that out as you need it. And then we did just want to remind everyone that if you do have a transaction or a credit that is from a locked order, you can still reallocate it. We're not holding those credits captive in the past. If you want to get rid of them, you could use the credit write-off tool for those. So you will, again, we do believe most of you will not be locking down orders in the past with a ton of outstanding balances. However, if you do, we do have a language file that will just be provisioned in the portal. Right now, we just have unable to pay this order. Please contact your organization. If someone had a really past due balance, they would see that and it would just default to the next payment in the list if they made a payment. And again, customizable to whatever your organization would like to say. We have added some new fields to the custom prompt group styling. So if you are using these custom forms, we give you the ability to pull last modified date so you can see when they last updated it. And we give you the ability to pull the profile photo from the contact. So originally the request was to have them upload a photo. We understand that sometimes you're seeing that kid every day in a pre-care or a before and after school care. It's easier to just take that picture at the desk. So now you do have the option to go from the contact photo as well. And again, if you need help setting one up, just reach out to your account manager. They can walk you through what that process looks like as well. All right, and then just some general fixes. Fixed an issue in Engage where if you were on page 2, when you checked someone in, you got booted back to page 1. So that is resolved. You will be on page 2 now, as well as if you changed it, sometimes the filter wouldn't hold as expected. Additionally, fixed an issue where GL master records were scheduled across certain periods under certain circumstances. This was largely due to adjustments, so no impact to your revenue, just a reporting error. So that has been resolved. We did clone the PSI to OI fields as part of that storage project in this release. So you will see all those fields that were on the PSI to OI now living on your order product. We updated the shopping cart UI in the portal just to have a continue shopping button. When we made the change in our previous release, we noticed that it wasn't the most intuitive that you could just click off the cart to continue shopping. So we made that a nice button. Fixed an issue mostly with the membership piece of the avocado menu, where certain times when you would go back to the account, it would force you to research for the account. That has been resolved. And then we fixed an issue where memberships that had come to like a natural end, so think of your like annual, were able to purchase prerequisite memberships past their end date. So that has been resolved as well. So I know I kind of alluded to this with the lock orders and the PSI to OI task, but I know this is like the burning topic on everyone's mind. So just wanted to give an update on storage. So again, we are working to help mitigate storage costs. You'll never be not required to have storage, but we're obviously trying to do what we can to help reduce that cost. So we have completed the mirroring of PSI to OI object, as I said, as part of this release. This is basically just allowing us to store all the information before we look at actually removing the PSI to OI object. We have completed the ability to lock orders, which will prevent staff to making changes to orders that have been archived. We have created our proof of concept to pull out data and create posting reports, as well as we've actually worked with a client to pull their data out of a production environment to just load test our proof of concept to make sure it can handle the volume that we see in our clients' environments. And I've been able to create posting reports for that as well. As part of that, we are continuing to work. We're just working on getting the AR summary report so that you can report on that outside of Avocado, as well as some of you who have segmented posting reports, making sure we're able to pull those segments as well. We're working at safeguarding any duplicate data in that system. So if you were to pull a previous archive and pull a current archive, making sure that there's no overlap of that data. Once we have finished that proof of concept, we will be working with you to move forward with actually archiving that data in your environments. So that is our current quarter goal. And then the other piece to that being the PSI to OI. Now that we have the fields mirrored, we're going to make sure that's working as expected and start deprecating the actual code. Once that is safely deprecated, we will copy everything historical over and then be able to delete that out of your environment. So upcoming in the next quarter or two, depending on your org and when those releases get into your environment. All right, and then just a little roadmap update of some things that are upcoming in the next 3 to 6 months. So we do have some improvements to the waitlist automation. If you've rolled that out in the previous release, we had some really great feedback from people, a couple little smaller bugs and a couple things that we've adjusted. So those will be available shortly. Preventative measures to mitigate finance misconfigurations. So we are putting some validation in if you are setting up products to make sure that those are going to the correct general ledgers. We are working on adding the ability to add a donation during the checkout process. So this will be at the point of sale first, and then ideally into the portal and the membership flow there. We are working to add the ability to select attendance days in the portal. So maybe you have a 5-day-a-week program, but you only want to come 4 days. Working on giving the same flexibility that we currently support in the menu to your end users in the portal. Again, that'll be configurable. You'll be able to turn it on and off, but that is underway. And then we're working on supporting multiple portal logins on account. So we understand that sometimes partner 1 doesn't want to log in with partner 2's email address. We kind of support this in a workaround way, but we'll be solidifying the support for that and having an actual manager profile kind of configurable from the front end of Avocado. So that is all I have. Thank you, Caitlin, from the CGY side for presenting your stuff about the portal. Really appreciate it. It's nice when I don't talk the entire time. So thank you for sharing what you've done. And then if anyone has questions, feel free to shout them out. Caitlin?
Curious for the instance, like more information update, the hiding like subscription and product pricing in lieu of the price group. Will that true false field be on the instance sheet, or is that going to be in the backend exclusively?
I believe we put it in the backend. I will double check for you and get back to you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Sorry, that was super persnickety or whatever the word is.
No, all good,
Thank
all
you.
good. All good. I'll let you know. Anyone else have anything? All right, going once, going twice. All right, thank you everyone for joining. If you think of any questions, feel free to reach out to your account manager or myself. We can help clarify anything. And then if you are interested in the custom portal, again, just send an email to your account manager. They can work on getting that process in motion for you. Other than that, have a great long weekend if you have a holiday this weekend. And if not, we will see you all shortly.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Rachel.